Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of The Shift with Gina. This is the Christmas episode. I really just wanted to film one more before we took Christmas break, before we took a break for the Christmas holiday. Hope you all are spending the day with family, friends. Hope you're doing something fun. I don't know what kind of family traditions you might have, but now that our little one is 2, she just turned 2, I feel like we have to make some new Christmas traditions. I don't know what we're going to do. We have to start. What I was telling my husband this morning as we were walking into church, I was like, I really want to create a 12 days of Christmas tradition every year, that we have things to do for the 12 days of Christmas. Now that she's sort of starting to understand Christmas more, and she understands things like opening presents and it's Jesus's birthday and things like that. So we have to kind of develop some more traditions, which is fun. I have my Santa hat on today. For those of you who are listening, you can't see, but I do have my Santa hat on. My outfit is not so Christmassy. It's honestly because I'm at this point now where I just started wearing maternity clothes. So it's all about choosing the most comfortable maternity clothes that don't make you look like a whale. So there's not really much Christmas stuff I have in my closet that is maternity. So I'm wearing a floral maternity dress that's not exactly Christmassy, but I do have the Christmas hat on. Today is going to be a Q&A, mostly Q&A session because I put an AMA box on my Instagram a few days ago on both my main account and my backup account. My main account is so super throttled. I'm sure you hear this from any content creator who is remotely conservative. I'm definitely on the FBI list. Like, there's no way I'm not on the FBI list. I saw Andy Frisella, he posted this meme on Instagram the other day. It was like, someone's asking you, are you on the naughty list or the nice list? It's like, well, me, I'm definitely on the FBI list, and that's me. So my main Instagram account is just totally wrecked. It's so hard to reach anybody on there now. And I have so many people that message me and they're like, oh, I didn't even know you were still posting. I haven't seen it. So I put an AMA box on my main page and my backup page. So we'll be going through the questions there. We got some good ones. Honestly, AMAs are sometimes hard to filter through because people just ask really bad questions. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but some of them are just bad questions, and it's hard to create an episode out of bad questions. But before we get into that, before we get into what I was about to get into, don't forget, The Shift is an online women's community. All of these episodes are brought to you by The Shift. We are an online community that focuses on health, wellness, and all of the topics that we're not allowed to talk about on public social media. We're currently in the middle of a daily steps challenge that we've been doing through Christmas. It's going to go through the end of December. But we are also starting a 30-day reset, which is a great little program to kick off 2024. We'll start on January 2nd. So click the link in the description if you want to join. We're going to have a daily wellness task. So every day you have something different to do for your health and wellness. We're going to be working on some habit formation, morning routine, bedtime routine. And it's just a really nice way to kick off the year, whether you want to reset your diet or maybe lose a couple pounds or just have some better habits set in place so you have more energy during the day. If you're a guy listening, you cannot join. It's women only. And if you want to share the group with somebody, share it with your friend, a girlfriend, a wife, a mom, a sister, a cousin, I don't know, anybody. Click the link in the description to share it. Okay, the first thing we're going to get into before the Q&A is this really horrific story I just shared on my page yesterday. A 16-year-old girl has just died from a blood clot in her brain that came from the birth control pill. She was prescribed the pill because she has had painful periods for a long time. And when you hear that a girl's on the birth control pill, the automatic response is often like, oh, well, she shouldn't be such a slut and sleep around and want to have sex without consequences. The truth is, the sad truth is there are a lot of young girls, more young girls than ever, teenagers, young women who are being put on the pill because they have some kind of hormonal or menstrual issue, whether their periods are really heavy, their periods are painful, their cycle is long, their cycle is irregular, whatever the case may be. These women go to the doctor in good faith, or their mom takes them to the doctor in good faith, and they're looking for help with their menstrual cycle. And what do? They get a group 1 carcinogen that not only overrides your natural hormones, eliminates ovulation, eliminates menstruation, but it also presents risks of heart attack, stroke, blood clots, and even death. All because you are struggling with a painful period. This girl was 16 years old. Her name is Layla Khan. This is a girl in the UK. She was described by her family as beautiful and intelligent. If you see the pictures of her, she is beautiful. She's a beautiful young girl. On November 25th, she started taking the birth control pill because for months she had struggled with painful periods. She had told her friends for a while that her menstrual cycle was really debilitating, and it was very difficult for her to manage her period, which again is becoming much more common with young girls today. And that is it's due to a lot of reasons, mostly because our health is not what it used to be. We're bombarded with so many different toxins and endocrine disruptors, not to mention the classic Western diet that people eat in the UK and in the US. Lots of ultra processed foods, many ingredients that disrupt your hormones. And a lot of the times, even when you think you're eating pretty healthy, you're not. So there's a lot of things that contribute to an unhealthy or an irregular menstrual cycle. And this teenager started taking the pill on November 25th. But 10 days later, she began experiencing severe headaches, bad migraines, and then she started having really bad vomiting. On the Sunday night before her death, she had been sick a lot. Her aunt said she was basically vomiting every 30 minutes. So they got a GP appointment on the Monday morning. They took her to the GP, general physician. Even though she was sick the whole time, they gave her anti-sickness tablets and told her they thought it was just a stomach bug. At that time, her aunt said there were no red flags to go to the hospital. But if these symptoms continued by Wednesday, the doctor recommended they go to the hospital. By Monday, December 11th, she was screaming in pain, and the teenager, 16-year-old Layla, collapsed in the bathroom. Her mother carried her to the car and drove her to the hospital, which was about 10 miles away. A scan revealed a blood clot in her brain, and she was transferred to another hospital where she underwent an emergency surgery. 2 days later, on Wednesday, December 13th, she was pronounced dead. This is a parent's absolute worst nightmare. 16 years old. The aunt says that there were no red flags, and then the day later, she's brain dead. It's incomprehensible. Layla's aunt also said that her sister, Layla's mom, has newborn babies to look after, and there are other children, and she has all that going on at the same time, and this is the biggest shock. The family is absolutely devastated. Family had to say their final goodbyes, knowing there was nothing more the doctors could do for her. Whew. She said doctors don't know of any other cause for the blood clot besides the birth control pill, and told the family there was no infection. The family have gone public about this story because they are incredibly upset about the fact that the risks are not spoken about enough. And this is what is so important about the story. This is the most crucial part of the story, is that the risks of the birth control pill are not talked about enough by the medical providers who prescribe the pill to these young girls. This is all hormonal birth control. I almost died from hormonal birth control when I was 19 years old. I had blood clots. I had, the doctor quoted, abnormally large blood clots lodged in my lungs. If I had waited just several more hours, the clots would have traveled to my lungs or my brain. Would have traveled to my heart or my brain and would have resulted in a deadly heart attack or stroke. So her fate could have been mine. So when I read the story, it just really crushes my heart, because that could have been me. And my doctor never told me there were any risks for blood clots. I was involved in a class action lawsuit because my doctor never, ever, ever told me that there were any risks of blood clots. And I'm assuming, I don't know, allegedly, or let's assume that this girl's doctor did not tell her and her family about these risks either. And that's why this family is going public about her story. It's easy to hear these stories and be like, oh, well, that was just a tragic thing and it doesn't really happen much. It happens a lot more often than you think it does. I'm always shocked, as someone who experienced this a long time ago. I'm always shocked when I receive all of these messages from people whose sister or mom or who they themselves have suffered from a blood clot or a stroke or some serious issue from the birth control pill or from hormonal birth control that the doctor never warned them about. This is crazy. And when I was 19, I wasn't given the pill to prevent pregnancy. I was given hormonal birth control to fix, quote, fix my irregular heavy menstrual cycle. And this is the thing, Big Pharma wants you to believe that the best way, and oftentimes the only way, to regulate your menstrual cycle, to reduce the pain from heavy periods, or to prevent pregnancy is to take the birth control pill. That's what they want you to believe. That to them is the only solution, because that to them is the only way that they're going to make money off of you. So they have spent decades programming women into believing that that's the only way you can fix your period, take away the pain, make the period more manageable, and at the same time, bonus, prevent pregnancy. It's a miracle pill. It's a magic pill. Wow, all you got to do is take it every day. Who cares if you don't ovulate? You're not going to get pregnant and you're not going to have any pain during your period. It is so criminal. Every single one of these doctors and medical providers who were involved in this should be locked up. It's criminal. I'm sick and tired of hearing more of these stories. And when I posted this story on Instagram, I got tons of comments, tons of messages of this girl saying, my sister had a severe stroke when she was in her early 20s. She still has issues today. My mom had a blood clot when she was 25 from the birth control pill. And there are still people that are like, they're commenting, they're wanting to know if this girl Layla was V-word. I'm doing the gesture. For those of you who are listening, you get what I'm saying. The thing that goes into your arm that you can't talk about anymore. A lot of people are asking if that was related to her case. It may have been. I don't know. Maybe she was V-word. But I think that the people who ask this, they are still not fully aware of what happens when you take the birth control pill. They still think that the birth control pill is a perfectly safe way to prevent pregnancy for everybody. And it's hard for people to accept that in many cases, the birth control pill can lead to death, can lead to blood clots, stroke, heart attack, a variety of issues that will last for the rest of your life, if not end your life. It's just, the story is really haunting, and it happened just before Christmas. And of course, everyone who's talking about this, they want people to know that the risk for blood clots is so small. The risk of getting a blood clot is very small. And your doctor will check if you have certain risk factors, because people who are asking if she was V-word, they're like, oh, that doesn't happen. You don't get a blood clot if you're under 35 from the pill. That happens to women who are 35 and older, or women who are smokers. Yeah, no, that happens. It can happen to them too. But there are plenty of young girls, teenagers, like I was a teenager when it happened to me. There are plenty of young girls that get blood clots from the pill. Layla Khan, this is so sad. I would ask you please to pray for Layla, pray for her family, and especially during this difficult time. She's the oldest of 5 children, and she had just started college. Less than 3 weeks on the pill, she dies. I can't imagine. It's just horrifying. And the conventional medical system is continuously pushing the pill on young girls, because the doctors who go into medical school thinking that they're going to help people, they just get programmed from day one. And a lot of times, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, I don't even really blame the doctors, because they were just bred to be that way. They were just programmed and designed to be pill pushers, because pharmaceutical companies in many cases write and publish the books that are used in medical school. Yeah, of course there's a conflict of interest. And of course doctors are going to be they're going to be swayed into pushing pharmaceuticals rather than helping girls find healing. She deserved help. She deserved help to heal. Heavy periods at 16, you can absolutely treat that. You can fix that without a group 1 carcinogen. And the sad thing is, you have all these women who have been gaslit into believing that the only way they can manage their menstrual cycle is by taking the pill. It's not true. This is not medical advice, but don't ladies. We're not even getting into the other side effects of the pill, like It changes what kind of men you're attracted to. It changes what kind of men are attracted to you. And that's why a lot of women, they're on the pill for like 10 years. They get married to their husband while they're on the pill. They get off the pill 2 years into their marriage because they're like, maybe I'd like to have some kids. They turn around, they look at their husband, they're like, I'm not attracted to you. I don't like the way that you smell. It's a thing because people don't like to admit that when you alter your menstrual cycle, your menstruation, hormones, all of that is directly related to your sex hormones. So when you're altering that and you're overriding your natural hormone cycle, that's going to change your level of attraction. It's going to change who you're attracted to. There's research done. There's a psychiatrist named Dr. Sarah Hill. She talks about how the pill makes women lesbians, turns you gay. They're turning the frogs gay. They actually turned the frogs T-word, not only gay. So Alex Jones was right all along. But that's what the pill does. And it makes you attracted to feminine men. Isn't it so convenient? It's almost like it was all by design. Let's get into some Q&A. This story is really sad. I don't even want to look at it anymore. Okay, so let's go into some questions from my first account, my main account. I'm just going to read the questions as they're written, even if it's bad grammar, and then we can kind of sift through it and translate if we need to. Depression meds. Can we help people that have been on it for a while? Yes. Yes. This is a really difficult one because people who have been on antidepressants for a long time, they have become so docile and so used to the idea that that's the only way that they can manage their depression. Someone who's actually, just speaking of Andy Frisella, I mentioned him earlier. He has talked about this openly recently, about how he came off of antidepressants after a long time being on them. And it's not an easy thing to do. You need a lot of support, but it's possible. There are a lot more people who are coming forward now to talk about their stories of how they've gotten off the antidepressants after being on it for years. And of course, you have to think about your diet and exercise and daily sunshine exposure and your sleep. All that is extremely important, but what's just as important is who you are around, what your family life is like, what your home life is like, your friends, all of these things that contribute to your emotional and spiritual well-being. They have to be in order too. Someone asks, just Christmas or any topic ? Any chance you'd move to St. Louis and work for First Form? No, I love First Form. I wish that I lived closer so I could visit First Form headquarters all the time. I love so many of the people who work there. Some of my really good friends live in St. Louis, and I love visiting there. But I would never work there, not because it's a bad place to work. If I were younger and single, or if I wasn't a mom yet, I would want to work there very badly. It's one of the best places probably that you could work, but they require a lot from their employees because they function at a very, very high level. First Form functions at a super high level. I've been there many times. I've seen their operation. I know people very well who work there or have worked there. They demand the very best from their employees, and that's why they're so successful. But I can't give that as a mom. Like, I don't want to go back to work. I'm not going back to work 9 to 5. God forbid, unless something serious happens to my husband and I have to because we don't have any other way to provide financially for the family. But no, I have no interest in going back to work at a 9 to 5 because First Form is the kind of job like you show up early and you're there. You got to be there 100%. And then you go home probably late because you're working hard and you're putting in the hours and you're going above and beyond because everybody goes above and beyond at First Form. It's an amazing environment. It's just I would never do it because I have a 2-year-old and I have a kid that's going to be here soon. Another baby on the way. So, and I will probably, God willing, want to have more. And it's just, especially when the kids are young, I'm not going to go back to work anywhere. But if I were like 20, 25, and I was looking for a job, that's where I would go for sure. Great place to work. Great place to be. I love First Form. I love them. They're awesome. Ideally, should Christmas Day be spent with family or the church? That's a good question. Ideally, it should be spent with both. That's not the answer you were looking for. Unfortunately, because of the decline of religious life, and because, look, people don't like to admit this, but because of the level of diversity in our country, and the sort of decline of American culture, all of these factors contribute to the fact that a lot of people have to choose now between their family and the church, when it's not like that in a lot of places around the world now, especially like Eastern Europe, for example. Like, it's unheard of to be Orthodox Christian, but not also but your family's not Orthodox Christian. You know what I mean? You're just like, everyone's cradle Orthodox. But yeah, ideally it should be spent with both. So for example, like my family and I, we're Orthodox, and none of my other family is, but we're making it a point to spend Christmas Day and Christmas, the holiday, with both. Like we're going to spend time with our God family at church, and we're going to spend time with our blood family at home too. I don't think that it should be choosing one over the other. It's a tough decision to make though, because a lot of people they live a different life religiously than their parents did or than their family does. So it's one of those things where if you feel like you have to choose, I just don't think that it should ever be a contentious choice. I think that especially during the Christmas holidays, we should be joyful and we should have love with our family. And that includes our God family too, but I don't think it should ever be like choosing one over the other. What foods are you preparing for your Christmas gathering? Okay, so today is Christmas. I think the day that you're listening to this is Christmas. I'm filming this on Christmas Eve, but Christmas Eve is like a fish and seafood night traditionally for my family. My grandma, she passed away when I was 17. Her tradition was always to make shrimp scampi on Christmas Eve. So I make shrimp scampi for the family every year. So we're having shrimp scampi. This year I'm making some crab cakes. I put them all together in patties yesterday. They're ready to cook. And then I'm making this really pretty pesto star bread. I just made it. It's rising right now, and then I'm going to put it in the oven soon. But it's like this twisty bread that's pesto and cheesy, and it's really yummy. And then for Christmas morning, we're going to have a spinach and Gruyere quiche and pear chocolate cinnamon rolls. That's a mouthful. I make those pretty much every year because they're a family favorite. People go crazy for these cinnamon rolls. So we're having that for brunch. Might have some bacon. We have some really nice bacon in the fridge too. We don't usually eat pork often, but when we do, we get the good kind. So might make some bacon too for the family if they want that. For Christmas dinner, I always make spaghetti carbonara for Christmas dinner. And this is like the traditional Italian way. You don't use cream. You don't use milk. No. You don't use any of that. Because when you make the sauce, the hot pasta just cooks the eggs. So you don't cook a sauce. You just put like the eggs, pecorino romano, you cook the guanciale, but the hot pasta will cook the eggs. So that's what we're going to have, spaghetti carbonara. And then this year I'm making a prime rib. So we'll have a roast with that as well, Christmas dinner. And then our Christmas dessert is going to be a white coconut Christmas cake. I just finished making the actual cake, the sponges. They came out really good. And it's going to be a coconut cream frosting with some lemon curd. I made lemon curd 2 days ago. Lemon curd's going to go in the middle. And I made some Dove cookies. So we'll put some royal icing on the Dove, stick them in the cake. Pretty little Christmas cake. My dad's birthday is the day after Christmas. So it's going to be another big day of cooking. I go crazy cooking for the holidays like this. I mean, I'm so tired, especially. I'm just going to complain for a second, especially pregnant. It's a lot being on your feet for like 10 hours in the kitchen. I got 18,000 steps yesterday. Just from cooking, 18,000 steps just from busting my butt in the kitchen. So there's going to be a lot of food. There's going to be a lot of food coming soon. Someone asked, do you plan to tell your children Santa is an imaginary figure or tell them he's real? I've been a little bit surprised at the heated debates online about Santa. People get really into Santa. Some Christians, I mean, it's usually the Protestants, they always scream. It's like the boy who cried wolf. It's like the Christians who cry pagan. They're like, you can't tell kids about Santa. It's a pagan thing that doesn't have anything to do with Christianity or whatever. They feel very strongly that it's wrong to include Santa in your Christmas celebrations. And then there's the other side that's like, you guys are crazy. Let your kids have some imagination. Every kid should believe in Santa. I don't feel so strongly about Santa quite yet. I just don't feel that strongly about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with having imagination and imaginary things with your kids. Like my daughter thinks unicorns are real. She loves unicorns. She also thinks dinosaurs are real or were real. That's a conspiracy theory I really want to get into. We were watching Jurassic Park a couple weeks ago and I told my husband, I'm like, do you know that they say dinosaurs never existed? He had never heard of that conspiracy theory before. Anyway, am I going to tell my daughter that Santa Claus is real or not? Am I going to tell the next child? I don't know. I'm not really into Santa. I feel like we'll do more things like about St. Nicholas, and we want to follow more of the Orthodox liturgical calendar and things like that. But I don't feel so strongly about it. I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you on that, but I don't feel so strongly about Santa quite yet. I think it might be just sort of a fun thing, like, oh, Santa Claus is part of Christmas. I don't think I'm going to tell her that he brings the gifts and like comes through the chimney and we have to leave cookies out for him. I don't think we'll do that. My parents did Santa Claus with me, but I figured it out really quickly. My mom was like, yeah, you were young when you figured out that it's impossible for Santa to be real. Someone asked, will Nick ever make a return on your podcast? Keep up the good work. 07. Thank you. Nick, you guys, well, let's just call him Fic Nuentes. He was a guest on my last podcast that I had with my friend Mike. He came on twice, and I know that he's like one of the most hated people on the internet, but I very much enjoyed making content with him. He's a nice guy. He's funny. Every interaction I've had with Nick has been very pleasant. Very pleasant. We went to, like, there was a friend when he was visiting one time, he was in town. I think we happened to film with him here, and then one of our mutual friends happened to have a birthday party, and everyone just loves to hate on him online, and it's like one of the most polarizing figures on the internet, and I just don't get why. Because I guess because, you know, they take his clips out of context, whatever. They say he's some sort of white supremacist, but sure, I'd love to have Nick on my show. I'm just not in any position where I can like fly guests out right now, because this podcast doesn't make any money. It's just a fun thing I do. And yeah, but sure, would love to have him back on and chat with him about a few things. Because he went super viral a couple months ago, probably at this point, about getting rid of like the age of consent or something. So I want to ask him what that was all about, because anytime you see people going crazy online about something viral that somebody like Nick said or somebody like Gavin McInnes said, it's like, you know that they're twisting the truth to make it something that they're not. But I do want to ask him what he meant by that. But yes, hopefully he will make a return. Do you give your daughter any supplements? I give her a little gummy multivitamin. It's from First Form. I mostly just get them because when I'm pregnant, I really crave gummy things, and I just kind of eat a few of them. I eat a few of hers. That's the only thing I give her. What's your favorite gift you are giving to someone this year? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm really excited about giving my gifts to my daughter. I just found some really cute things. It's such a fun age to get gifts for, because they don't know if something is like cheap or whatever. She's just going to be so excited when she sees all this. So she's obsessed with my makeup. When she sees me put on makeup, when we're going to church or something like that, she's, Mama, I want makeup. Mama, I want makeup. And so I let her hold a brush and she goes like this. So I got her like a little toddler, like makeup set, like a fake makeup set. I'm excited to give that to her. She'll like that a lot. Someone asked, are you blessed with baby right now? You never post workouts and have loose clothing. Yes, I am blessed with baby right now. I didn't announce on Instagram. I think I don't like announcing my pregnancy. I don't think that's something, I don't know. I just feel weird about announcing my pregnancy. Like, I've obviously talked about it here on the show. So this person obviously doesn't watch my show. No, it's fine. But I didn't announce the pregnancy. I feel weird announcing it, probably because anytime somebody announces their pregnancy, you'd be shocked at like the weird questions and comments that you get. Like, when somebody finds out you're pregnant online, the weird questions start flooding in. When are you, not that these are weird. The first couple are not weird, but then they get weirder as time goes on. When are you due? Are you having a boy or a girl? What are you going to name them? Are you going to V-word them? What kind of health insurance do you have? Are you going, if it's a boy, are you going to circumcise him? Where are you going to deliver? Who's your midwife? Who's your OB? What do you think about OBs and midwives? What do you think about home births? It's just like and then it turns into like really invasive personal questions. It's just like, I just don't want to tell people. I don't even want to tell people my due date, really, because I don't like people messaging me and being like, did you have your baby yet? How big is the baby? How much does the baby weigh? What was your birth like? Tell your birth story. It's just like, for me personally, pregnancy and birth is an incredibly intimate, personal, private experience. It's a private experience with my family, my husband and me. I'm not big on like, I'm 24 weeks pregnant. I'm 30 weeks, but I got 6 more weeks until I'm due. Like I'm just not big on that. Personally, it's just a personal thing. So yeah, a lot of people right now are confused because they're like seeing some photos of me on my stories and they're like, is she pregnant? Isn't she? It's like, I think just this past week, my belly popped. So it's impossible to think otherwise. But up until this week, it was sort of like in the gray zone. Like, is she just fat? Is she gaining some weight or is she pregnant? But yes, I am blessed with baby right now. Yes. Artificial tree or real tree? Artificial tree for sure. We have this really nice artificial tree that has the lights built in. All you got to do is just screw it on and plug them in, and it's just beautiful. It's a really nice tree we got a few years ago, and it's so gorgeous. I don't think I can deal with the real tree again. It's a pain in the butt. Bringing it in, and then you got to clean up after it, and you got to make sure it's all trimmed and all that. No, the tree we have is perfect. Do you and your hubby exchange gifts? Yes, we do. But I give him like a list of gifts that I want, and then he kind of chooses from there. So it's kind of a surprise, but not a surprise. And yeah, I got my husband some things this year too. All right, we can do maybe a couple more from my backup account, and then I got to call it a day because I got to start cooking. I got to cook those crab cakes. I got to cook the shrimp scampi. All right, here we go. Besides reds and greens, any other recommendations for helping with inflammation? I hate to be that guy, but this question is a little bit too general. When it comes to inflammation, it obviously all starts with the diet, like eating anti-inflammatory foods, and really, really reducing stress. Stress is one of the biggest contributors to inflammation. And I know it's easier said than done, but if you are struggling with inflammation, you have to consider the levels of stress in your life and what kind of sleep you're getting. Even if you are in bed for 8 hours, it doesn't mean that you're getting 8 hours of high quality sleep. Someone asked what I'm cooking for Christmas dinner. I already did that. This is like, what do you and your family do for health insurance? There's some really weird personal. Someone asked me, they like ask sex questions about me and my husband. It's just so weird. People are weird, and they get weirder when you're pregnant. They know you're pregnant. And they ask these like super invasive questions. I don't know. More kids? ? Yes. Another person doesn't know I'm pregnant. Some guy says, this girl who's very sweet, but she may have a past partying, etc. What should I do? Okay, so I'm translating this to this. He's seeing a girl who's very sweet, but she may have a past, like she partied in the past. What should I do? Yeah, so I understand why this would be like a concern for a guy. Of course, there's a higher likelihood that she may not be over her past habits or whatever it is. I think it all really comes down to the kind of life that she lives today. Of course, a person's past is part of them in a way, but it doesn't define everything about them. So what is her life like now? What does she live like now? Does she still party? Does she still hang out with friends that she used to party with? It's extremely important who you spend time with, especially as girls, where you can arguably say we're more social than men are. So it matters a lot who we're friends with. Repentance and forgiveness and redemption are available to everyone through Christ. So a person with a serious past can absolutely come to Christ and turn her life around. Look at Saint Mary of Egypt. She was a prostitute for many years, and then she wasn't even getting paid for it at one point. And she's now a saint. She's now a saint that's celebrated every period during Lent. Every year during Lent, they have a whole Sunday that's devoted to her. So you see stories like this, and there are other saints in the Bible and in history that had a past, other women who were, whether they were prostitutes or they had a seedy past and they turned their life around for Christ. But if she actually has turned her life around, you will be able to see that. It's not going to be something that, I'm not sure. Has she? I'm not totally convinced. Like, you will know, you will be able to see it. The fruit of that will be visible to you. Okay, I'm going to do a whole other episode on this because there is a phenomenon happening right now. They call it the OnlyFans to trad wife pipeline. Have you guys seen this? I mean, I don't want to point out names, but there are a lot of girls now online who realize that the OnlyFans thing is not working out for them the way that it used to, or they're starting to become ashamed of it. So then they all of a sudden turn around, they become a trad wife, and they even talk about it on their TikTok. They're like, I used to be an OnlyFans hoe, and now I'm a trad wife. The pipeline is real. So like I said, redemption, forgiveness, and repentance are available, but it has to be genuine. It has to actually be real. So how do you determine between the two of those? How do you determine whether something is just fake or whether something is true and real? We'll get into it in the next episode, but a lot of it, you really need to ask the Holy Spirit for guidance because, like I said, a woman can turn her life around, but you have to see the fruit of that. It can't just be something that she says she does. All right, we'll do one more question, and then we'll go. Last one. Do you trust any store-bought baby food? Example, Serenity Kids. I don't even know what Serenity Kids is. The answer is no. I've never given my child baby food. Never, like not once. I've never bought baby food for her ever. I'm not saying that you should never buy it either. I'm just answering the question. I don't trust any store-bought baby food. Store-bought baby food. I think one time she had a pouch. You know those little pouches of like the fruit puree? One time at church, all the kids were kind of having snacks and one of the moms offered one to my daughter and she was like, yes. And I said, yeah, fine. Let's eat it. It's fine. Like her face lit up. It was like the first time she ever had anything like that. But it came in a plastic pouch. I just don't buy stuff like that for my daughter. I just don't. I made all of her baby food when she was young. I had a little baby puree thing with pureed apples, pureed carrots, pureed sweet potatoes, pureed pears. I made her baby food because you just don't know. And that stuff is, I mean, even the stuff that doesn't come in plastic, you just don't really know. They have to put preservatives in there. They have to put some sort of natural flavors to make it taste good. And they got to put something in there to make it last, to increase the shelf life. And most of the stuff does come in plastic and it's moldy. I forgot who did this, but they did testing on the baby food that comes in the plastic pouches and it's just like mold in there that you're feeding to your child. Don't do that. But I know some people who get the baby food in glass jars. Maybe that one's good. I don't know. I just don't trust it. I made all of my child's baby food. It doesn't take that long. You just chop up some stuff and put it in the puree thing and it steams it and it purees it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit of a freak when it comes to my kids' food, but I just didn't trust any of it. There's more questions here. Next time I'll get to all of that. People are asking about, this is the last question. Thoughts on the pill for endometriosis mitigation? Doctors we really trust recommend it. Okay. So the pill, is used for endometriosis mitigation, but it does not heal endometriosis. It just masks the symptoms and it eliminates their menstrual cycle. So that you don't have a regular period, you don't have a regular menstrual cycle. And that is temporary relief, but it's just a Band-Aid. Like as soon as you can't stay on the pill forever. And as soon as you come off the pill, the symptoms will come back and usually they come back worse. I understand endometriosis can be incredibly painful and very debilitating for women, but I know many women who have healed their endometriosis naturally, holistically, and there are a lot of practitioners out there who are willing to help you do that. You do not have to turn to the pill for something like that. A doctor, of course, will recommend that to you because that's all that they know, unfortunately. All doctors know when it comes to endometriosis, all they know is the pill. But there are many other options that you can use to heal your period. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. So not medical advice. I have to say that legally, not medical advice, but there are other options. That's not your only option in the world. Okay. Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm going to go cook now. Okay. It was nice sitting down here because I got a little break. I got to get off my feet and sit for a minute. Whew. Now it's back to running around in the kitchen and cooking a lot of yummy stuff. I'm excited. I'll share the photos and videos with you. Very Merry Christmas to you all. And Happy New Year. I'll see you before the new year. I think I will. I'll do an episode before the new year. Okay. Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye.